When God is about to bless you, everything in your life begins to shift. You may not see it immediately, but deep inside, something begins to stir. The atmosphere around you changes. The people around you begin to reveal themselves, and your spirit becomes restless. This is not confusion, it is divine movement. It is the signal that the hand of God is working behind the veil, preparing something greater than what you prayed for. You may think your life is falling apart, but in truth, it is falling into alignment. God does not bless chaos. Before He releases a blessing, He reorganizes your path. Before He pours abundance, He clears the vessel. Before He lifts you higher, He removes what cannot go with you. You must understand this truth. When God is about to bless you, He will never allow you to remain in comfort. The first sign of a coming blessing is discomfort. The familiar begins to feel wrong. The places you once enjoyed start to drain you. The conversations you once entertained no longer feed your soul. That's not boredom, it's separation. God is pulling you away from what is beneath your destiny. When you are chosen for greatness, God makes you uncomfortable in average places. You start to feel an inner push, a spiritual stirring that says, there is more. That's God awakening the seed inside you. You are being shifted from convenience to conviction. Do not fight the discomfort. It's the labor pain before birth. The blessing you prayed for is about to arrive, but you must be willing to leave the old womb of familiarity. The second sign appears when isolation becomes your new classroom. Suddenly, people begin to disappear. Those you trusted distance themselves. The phone becomes silent. The support you once had seems to vanish. It feels like rejection, but it's redirection. God removes people not because He wants to punish you, but because He wants to protect you. Every blessing comes with exposure, and God knows that not everyone around you can handle the light He is about to place upon you. So He isolates you not to make you lonely, but to make you listen. In isolation, you stop hearing the noise of the crowd and start discerning the voice of God. It is in solitude that God whispers the next step, reveals hidden enemies, and strengthens your spiritual backbone. The blessing requires privacy before it is made public. So when people walk away, don't chase them. Thank God. The fewer the hands in your life, the easier it is for Him to shape you. The third sign that God is about to bless you is when your enemies suddenly multiply. You may wonder, why now? Why do people suddenly turn against me? Because every elevation invites opposition. God uses enemies as instruments of acceleration. When your name starts to be spoken in rooms you've never entered, when you start facing resistance without reason, know this, your blessing is close. The enemy only fights what threatens him. If you were insignificant, you would not be attacked. But when the blessing of God is about to manifest, forces rise to test your endurance, your patience, and your faith. You are not being destroyed, you are being trained. God allows resistance not to break you, but to build you. Every false accusation, every betrayal, every misunderstanding is part of your preparation. The greater the warfare, the greater the reward. Then comes the fourth sign, the divine test of faith. When God is about to bless you, He tests your trust. Doors that should open seem locked. Prayers seem unanswered. The blessing feels delayed. But God does not delay to deny. He delays to strengthen your spirit. He wants to see if you trust His timing more than your own desire. Many lose their blessing at this stage because they quit too soon. They stop praying when heaven is one command away from release. The test is designed to refine your faith. God asks, will you still believe when nothing seems to work? Will you still worship when the evidence of your blessing is invisible? Those who endure this stage are the ones who receive the fullness of the promise. Because faith is not proven in abundance, it is proven in absence. When you can trust God in silence, you are ready for His sound of breakthrough. The fifth sign appears when divine clarity enters your confusion. After a long season of uncertainty, suddenly your mind becomes still. The fog lifts. You begin to see purpose in pain, meaning in your waiting, and lessons in your losses. This is God opening your spiritual eyes. Blessings do not come to the blind. They come to those who can discern. God reveals the why behind the struggle, and everything begins to make sense. You realize that every rejection was protection, every delay was direction, every loss was preparation. When this revelation comes, you feel a peace that surpasses understanding. That peace is not ordinary. It is the mark of divine order. God never blesses confusion. He blesses clarity. When you begin to understand the lessons of your past, it means God is preparing you to handle the weight of your future. Then comes the sixth sign, the sudden acceleration. What once took years begins to happen in moments. Things you prayed for start aligning faster than you expected. The right people appear. The right opportunities show up. The right doors open. It's as if time begins to cooperate with your destiny. That's not luck. That's divine orchestration. God compresses time when the preparation is complete. What took others decades, you will accomplish in months. When God is ready to bless you, He redeems lost time. Every delay, every setback, every disappointment suddenly begins to make sense because you realize nothing was wasted. You were being positioned, trained, and matured for this moment. This is why patience is power. It allows God to perfect what you are praying for. The seventh and final sign is spiritual elevation. Your inner life begins to rise before your outer life changes. You feel a shift in your spirit. Your desires change. You crave peace more than popularity. You value purpose more than possessions. You start detaching from superficial pursuits. This is not weakness. It is maturity. God always blesses the soul before the situation. When your heart aligns with divine principles, when your spirit is purified of pride, bitterness, and doubt, then God releases what was being withheld. Blessings are not only gifts, they are responsibilities. And God cannot entrust heavy blessings to hearts still carrying old burdens. When you feel the inner transformation, it means the outer manifestation is near. Your thoughts become clearer. Your faith becomes stronger. Your soul feels lighter. That is the spiritual confirmation that the blessing is already on its way. Now listen carefully. When God is about to bless you, He doesn't announce it to the world. He announces it to your spirit. That quiet knowing you feel That strange calm in the middle of chaos, that unexplainable confidence when things look uncertain, that is divine assurance. You are not imagining it. You are not overthinking it. That is God telling you, stay still. I am working. Many people lose their blessing because they misinterpret stillness as stagnation. But stillness is the most powerful posture of faith. It is the moment when heaven is moving on your behalf, even though the earth looks silent. God works in the unseen before He reveals in the seen. So do not doubt the silence. It is a sacred space of creation. Sometimes before the blessing, you will also experience spiritual warfare in your mind. Doubt will whisper, nothing is changing. Fear will echo, what if it never happens? But faith will rise and say, God is faithful. When these thoughts come, understand your breakthrough is close. The enemy always attacks the mind right before manifestation. He knows that if he can control your thoughts, he can stop your progress. But when you resist negativity, when you silence fear with faith, you prove to God that you are ready for the next level. The mind is the battlefield, and the blessing belongs to those who master it. Guard your thoughts as treasures, for they shape your destiny. God is precise. He blesses at the right moment, not the convenient one. You may be in a waiting season, but that doesn't mean you are forgotten. You are being prepared. A blessing too early becomes a burden. That's why God sometimes withholds what you desire most, because He wants to protect what He placed inside you. Every delay carries divine design. The blessing is not late, it is being perfected. You must hold faith, even when it looks like nothing is moving, because in the spiritual realm, everything is already set. God is aligning resources, moving hearts, and rearranging circumstances to ensure that when your blessing arrives, it cannot be stolen, reversed, or destroyed. When God is about to bless you, you will also sense unusual peace during storms. This peace is not logical, it is divine. It comes from knowing that the outcome is already written in your favor. You stop worrying about timelines, you stop comparing your journey to others, you rest in trust, and that rest becomes your strength. Many think blessings are only about material things, but true blessings begin within. When you have peace that cannot be shaken, that is the foundation of abundance. God always works from the inside out. When your spirit is calm, your environment must align. That is spiritual law. Some of you are standing right now on the edge of breakthrough, but you are interpreting your test as failure. You are looking at the temporary storm and thinking God has forgotten you. But storms are not signs of rejection. They are signs of transition. When the wind gets stronger, it means you are about to lift higher. You cannot rise without resistance. God sends winds to uproot you from places where you've stayed too long. That discomfort, that loss, that delay, it's not punishment. It's the push toward your next level. You prayed for a blessing, but you didn't know that blessings are often wrapped in battles. God hides blessings behind challenges to see who truly trusts Him. So if your life feels like a storm, rejoice. The greater the turbulence, the closer you are to elevation. Understand this truth: blessings are not accidents. They are rewards for alignment. When your life begins to reflect divine order, when your words, your actions, and your intentions start matching what God expects, He releases overflow. Many pray for blessings but live in disobedience. But God blesses order, not confusion. He blesses faith, not fear. He blesses surrender, not stubbornness. When you stop fighting His will and start flowing with His plan, you will see the floodgates open. The blessing was never far. It was just waiting for your obedience. God cannot release what your character cannot sustain. So every season of testing, every delay, every pruning, it was preparing you to hold the blessing without losing yourself. The moment before a blessing is always the hardest. Everything in you wants to give up. The pressure increases, the silence grows, and doubt creeps in. But that is when you must hold your faith tighter than ever, because the darkest hour is always right before dawn. When you feel like quitting, that's the sign you are closest to victory. God often waits until you are fully surrendered before He acts. He wants to bless not your pride, but your purity. When you say, God, even if you don't give me what I want, I still trust you. That's when the heavens open. That level of surrender activates divine release. And when the blessing finally comes, it won't be subtle. It will be undeniable. Everything you lost will begin to return in better form. Relationships will heal. Opportunities will appear. Doors you never knocked on will open. People who once overlooked, you will be forced to recognize what God has done in your life. You won't need to prove yourself. Your transformation will speak for itself. That's how God works. He blesses you publicly after refining you privately. He makes your story a testimony of His power. When God is about to bless you, you will notice one last thing. Your heart will no longer chase what is temporary. You will crave purpose. You will long to serve, to give, to uplift others. Because real blessings are never just for you. They are meant to flow through you. God blesses vessels that are open, not containers that are closed. When you become a channel of goodness, He keeps pouring more into your life. The more you give, the more you grow. The more you share, the more He multiplies. That is how divine multiplication works. It begins with a generous heart. God never gives to the selfish. He gives to those who reflect His spirit of abundance. Every pain, every tear, every lonely night, every silent prayer, it was not wasted. God saw it. He counted every sigh. He heard every word you couldn't even speak. And now, the time has come for you to rise. The signs are already around you. The discomfort, the isolation, the clarity, the peace. Don't misread them. They are proof that the blessing is near. You are about to walk into a season where what was once impossible will suddenly become inevitable. Stay still. Stay faithful. Stay ready. God is about to bless you beyond measure. And when He does, no one will be able to deny that it was His hand upon your life. When God is preparing to bless you, He begins by shifting your spiritual atmosphere long before your physical reality changes. It's a sacred rearrangement, often misunderstood as chaos. But in truth, it is divine order forming beneath the surface. What feels like delay is actually God realigning every piece of your life to fit the blueprint of your destiny. You are not being ignored. You are being refined. You are not being punished. You are being perfected. Every challenge, every setback, every moment of silence carries an invisible purpose. God hides His greatest blessings in seasons that seem barren, so that only those who truly trust Him will endure long enough to receive them. You see, when God decides to bless a person, He first breaks the limits of their thinking. The human mind can only hold what it believes is possible. If your thoughts are small, your blessings will be too. So God begins to stretch your faith. He makes you dream bigger, hope deeper, and believe beyond logic. That stretching hurts. It feels like pressure. It feels like confusion. But that's God expanding your capacity. A small vessel cannot hold a large blessing. The discomfort you feel is not destruction, it's enlargement. God is teaching you how to carry the weight of what He's about to release. When He enlarges your vision, it's a sign that your environment is about to change. Sometimes, before God blesses you, He must confront what you've settled for. Many people stop at survival when they were destined for significance. They accept little because they fear loss. But God cannot fill a heart that clings to comfort. He calls you out of the familiar to show you the extraordinary. He removes what you thought you needed to prove to you that His provision is enough. When you lose something or someone, it's often because your blessing demands a new foundation. God will not build destiny on a cracked surface. He clears, He removes, He prunes, not to harm you, but to strengthen the structure of your life. The pruning feels painful, but it is proof that you are fertile. Only fruitful trees are pruned. When God is about to bless you, your discernment heightens. You start seeing things for what they truly are, not what you wished they were. He sharpens your spirit to detect what does not belong in your next season. The same conversations that once entertained you start to irritate your soul. The same habits that once felt harmless begin to disturb your peace. That is divine conviction. It's not guilt, it's guidance. God is showing you that you cannot carry the old version of yourself into the new season. The blessing requires a purified heart and a disciplined mind. The same way gold must pass through fire before it shines, your character must pass through testing before it qualifies for the next level. And when that testing comes, don't misinterpret it as punishment. Tests are the final gates before blessings. God will test your patience, your humility, your endurance, and your ability to remain faithful in silence. He wants to know, can you handle being overlooked without becoming bitter? Can you celebrate others while you are still waiting? Can you obey even when you don't understand? These questions are not for God's sake. They are for yours. They reveal the strength of your heart. Every test is an invitation for elevation. If you fail, He doesn't discard you. He trains you again. Because God is not after perfection. He is after progression. When the blessing is near, God often sends signs through your emotions. You start to feel a holy restlessness, a divine discontentment with where you are. It's as if your spirit knows that something greater is calling. You may wake up in the night with a fire in your chest. You may feel drawn to pray, to fast, to reflect, to withdraw from noise. That is the inner voice of destiny, whispering that your blessing is in motion. Do not suppress that calling with distraction. When God awakens your spirit, respond with obedience. The blessing you seek is tied to the level of your spiritual sensitivity. If you ignore His nudge, you delay your own breakthrough. But when you respond to God's call, something shifts in the unseen. Invisible doors begin to open. People you've never met start thinking about you. Resources begin to align. Favor begins to locate you. You will start hearing the phrase, "I don't know why, but I feel led to help you." That's not coincidence, that's confirmation. When God moves, He doesn't need human permission. He influences hearts, rearranges circumstances, and alters time itself to fulfill His promise. You won't have to chase your blessing. It will chase you. You won't have to prove yourself. The favor of God will speak louder than your qualifications. Before every great blessing, God purifies your motives. He will ask you, "Why do you want this?" Because a pure blessing requires a pure heart. If your desire is rooted in comparison, competition, or pride, the blessing will destroy you instead of build you. God blesses those who seek to reflect His goodness, not those who seek to boast in their gain. He measures not only your request, but also your reason. That is why He delays certain things, not to deny them, but to refine your intention. The moment your desire becomes aligned with His will, the blessing flows effortlessly. You won't have to beg. You will only have to be ready. One of the clearest signs that your blessing is near is when you experience unusual favor in unexpected places. People who don't know you begin to trust you. Paths open without effort. Ideas begin to bear fruit. You find yourself at the right place at the right time without planning it. That is divine orchestration, proof that God is walking ahead of you. He softens hearts, opens gates, and prepares platforms before you even arrive. That is why you must not panic when you face temporary opposition. God is not removing your blessing. He is removing obstacles to protect it. The very walls seem to block you today will soon stand as monuments to your perseverance. There is also a deep spiritual law at work before every blessing. There is a separation. God separates light from darkness before creation can begin. Likewise, He separates your purpose from your past before your blessing manifests. You may lose friends, routines, or even habits you once enjoyed. But understand this: God separates to elevate. He detaches you from what is draining your spiritual energy. You cannot rise while holding on to what pulls you down. Separation is not the end, it is the beginning of sacred promotion. The emptiness you feel after release is just the space being prepared for something better. When your blessing is close, the presence of God becomes undeniable. You begin to sense Him in everything, in silence, in nature, in simple moments of reflection. He makes you sensitive to small things because He is training you to recognize His movement. You will notice that your prayer life deepens. You no longer pray for things, you pray for wisdom. You no longer seek recognition, you seek alignment. That shift in your heart is a sign of maturity, and maturity attracts manifestation. When God sees that you desire His will more than His gifts, He trusts you with both. The blessed often go through an unseen refining fire before they rise. The fire is meant to burn away self-doubt, pride, and fear. It teaches humility and sharpens discernment. When you endure this fire, you become unbreakable. God never allows you to go through pain without purpose. Every hardship that seemed unfair is actually equipping you to carry the blessing with strength. If you had received it earlier, you would have mishandled it. But now, after the fire, you are ready. You have learned patience, compassion, and gratitude. Qualities that preserve the blessing once it arrives. When God decides to elevate you, even the smallest act of obedience becomes powerful. He multiplies your little and makes it much. He turns your ordinary efforts into extraordinary results. That is why you must never underestimate consistency. Many people fail not because they lack talent, but because they stop too soon. They give up one step before breakthrough. But when you remain steadfast, when you keep praying, working, believing, and sowing even when you see no results, you activate divine acceleration. God honors persistence. Every time you refuse to quit, heaven takes notice. The closer you are to your blessing, the more the enemy tries to distract you. He uses doubt, temptation, and fear to derail your focus. He will send chaos disguised as opportunity and noise disguised as urgency. But discernment will protect you. You must ask yourself daily, is this from God or is this pulling me away from peace? Because the voice of God never confuses, it confirms. He does not pressure, he positions. If something brings rest to your spirit, it's likely divine. If it disturbs your peace, it's not for you. The ability to distinguish between what is good and what is good and what is God will determine whether you step into your blessing or circle the wilderness again. When you finally align your mind, heart, and actions with divine will, you enter a flow. Life begins to cooperate with your purpose. Even your failures become lessons, and your mistakes turn into wisdom. You begin to see that every event, good or bad, was orchestrated to prepare you for this season. You stop asking, why me? And start saying, thank you, God. Gratitude becomes your language, and in gratitude, you find power. Gratitude is the key that unlocks abundance. It attracts more of what you appreciate. God blesses grateful hearts because they multiply His goodness through thankfulness. There will come a moment when you feel a deep inner confirmation, a knowing that no one can take away. That's when you'll realize the blessing has already begun. You will feel lighter, freer, and more at peace. The things that once stressed you will lose their power over you. The opinions of others will no longer control you. This is the spiritual evidence of divine blessing. True blessings are not always loud, they are peaceful. They bring clarity, not confusion. They bring fulfillment, not competition. So, if you are in a season where life feels unpredictable, where everything seems uncertain, do not despair. It means God is near. It means something magnificent is unfolding beneath the surface. Hold your faith tightly, for faith is the bridge between promise and manifestation. The moment you believe that God is still in control, you shift the atmosphere. You draw the unseen into the seen. Every word of faith is a seed, and in the right season, that seed will burst into reality. God has not forgotten you. He has simply been preparing you. And when His time meets your readiness, nothing on earth or in the heavens can stop what He has ordained for your life. When God is preparing to bless you, He begins by placing you in circumstances that stretch your faith to its fullest capacity. You may look around and wonder, why does everything seem harder now? But what you are feeling is not abandonment. It is preparation. God is building your endurance because blessings require strength to sustain. Many pray for the blessing, but are unprepared for the weight that comes with it. So, God trains you through difficulty. He strengthens your faith through delay. He matures your heart through disappointment. He allows pressure to mold your patience because only a steady heart can carry lasting favor. The fire that you feel is not meant to destroy you. It is meant to purify what no longer belongs in your destiny. When God is near to releasing your blessing, your perception of time changes. What used to frustrate you begins to make sense. You stop rushing. You stop comparing. You begin to trust that what is meant for you will arrive when you are truly ready. This is one of the greatest marks of divine maturity. Peace in waiting. When your spirit can rest, even when nothing has yet manifested, it means your faith has grown beyond sight. God loves to bless a soul that can trust without proof. He withholds visible evidence to build invisible confidence. It is that unshakable faith that becomes the foundation for enduring prosperity. There is a mystery that few understand. Blessings do not begin with receiving. They begin with releasing. When God wants to elevate you, He first asks you to let go. Let go of control. Let go of what you think should happen. Let go of who you thought you needed. The blessing you're waiting for cannot enter hands that are still gripping the past. Surrender is not weakness. It is spiritual alignment. The moment you let go, you make space for God to move. You shift from striving to receiving. And when you reach that level of surrender, blessings begin to find you effortlessly because your life is now flowing in divine rhythm. Sometimes, when God is ready to bless you, He will lead you into obscurity. He will hide you in seasons of silence where nothing seems to happen. You may feel forgotten, overlooked, or invisible. But understand, this hiding is not rejection, it is protection. God hides His most valuable vessels until the appointed time. Just as the seed must remain underground before it grows, you must remain hidden until your roots are deep enough to sustain what will soon appear. When you are unseen, you are being strengthened. When no one calls your name, God is writing it on doors that no human can close. Trust the hidden season. It is proof that your exposure will be divine, not man-made. When God prepares a blessing, He will often shake your foundation to test what you truly depend on. If your peace is tied to circumstances, He will disturb those circumstances. If your confidence is tied to people, He will remove their validation. He does this to shift your dependence from creation back to the Creator. God desires to be your only source, because only then can your blessing remain unshaken. When He becomes your anchor, no loss can destroy you. You will no longer collapse under pressure, because your stability is built on eternal strength, not temporary support. One of the most overlooked signs that a blessing is approaching is spiritual conflict. When everything around you suddenly feels unsettled, your mind, your emotions, your relationships, it is because light and darkness are colliding over your next season. God is pulling you forward, while the enemy tries to pull you back. The chaos you feel is the clash between who you were and who you are becoming. You must choose which side of yourself will win. Will you return to comfort, or will you step into calling? The moment you decide to trust God completely, the confusion begins to break. Peace will return and clarity will follow. When God is about to bless you, He will also expose your hidden fears. He will bring them to the surface, not to embarrass you, but to free you. Because blessings demand boldness. You cannot step into divine abundance while being enslaved by the fear of failure or rejection. So God confronts your insecurities head on. He places you in situations where you must choose faith over fear. Every time you choose faith, your spiritual muscles grow stronger. Fear loses its voice. Courage begins to rise. That courage becomes the key that unlocks your next level. Another divine sign that precedes a blessing is divine discomfort with mediocrity. You will begin to feel an inner hunger for excellence. What once satisfied you no longer feels enough. That's not greed. It's spiritual growth. God is enlarging your spirit to match the size of your destiny. You will notice that you begin to think differently, walk differently, and even speak differently. This is not arrogance, it's transformation. The old version of you cannot carry the new vision that God is birthing within you. When He is preparing to bless you, He upgrades your inner life before He elevates your outer life. At times, God will send divine interruptions. Plans will fail. Opportunities will close. Relationships will end abruptly. It will confuse you at first, but later you will realize that every interruption was a rescue in disguise. God saw something you could not see. He removed what would have delayed or diluted your blessing. Every no you received was a redirection towards something greater. That is why you must never mourn closed doors too long. The same God who closed them has already prepared one that will open with ease and bring peace when you walk through it. When the blessing draws near, your spirit will begin to crave solitude. You will desire moments of silence, away from the distractions of noise and opinion. That is not isolation, it's intimacy. God calls you into stillness so that you can hear what He has been trying to say all along. In stillness, He gives direction. He gives clarity. He gives warning. The blessing you are about to receive will require precise instruction, and that instruction comes to those who are still enough to listen. The world glorifies business, but God speaks in quiet spaces. When He draws you inward, do not resist. That inner calling is your invitation to wisdom. One of the most beautiful signs that God's blessing is near is the sudden release of burdens. You will notice that the things which used to weigh heavily on your heart no longer hold the same power. You will forgive people who never apologized. You will find peace in situations that once brought pain. This release is sacred. It is God removing residue from your soul. He is cleansing you so that nothing old can contaminate the new. Emotional healing always precedes material manifestation. Before He restores what you lost, He restores your peace. Only then can your blessing rest on you securely. And when the blessing begins to manifest, it will come with divine ease. What used to require struggle will now unfold smoothly. Doors will open without forcing. People will help you without asking. The very paths that once resisted you will now welcome you. This ease is not coincidence. It is the reward of alignment. When your heart, mind, and actions align with divine will, the universe itself must respond. God had designed existence to obey obedience. When you flow with His plan, everything around you harmonizes with your purpose. But remember, every blessing carries a responsibility. God does not bless you only for your benefit. He blesses you to become a vessel of benefit to others. The blessing that stops with you becomes a burden. The blessing that flows through you multiplies. If you want your blessing to last, use it to uplift. Use your abundance to heal, your wisdom to guide, your influence to inspire. The more you pour out, the more God will pour in. He trusts givers more than hoarders. He enlarges those who share, because through them, His goodness expands. And yes, there will always be moments when doubt tries to whisper again. It will tell you that perhaps you misunderstood. Perhaps the blessing is too big. Perhaps it's not your time. But you must remember that doubt is the shadow of destiny. It only appears where there is light. Let that doubt remind you that something radiant is approaching. Silence it by remembering what God has already brought you through. If He carried you this far, why would He abandon you now? Every past victory is proof of future fulfillment. As the blessing draws near, gratitude becomes your greatest weapon. Gratitude transforms your atmosphere. It disarms fear and activates favor. When you thank God even before the blessing arrives, you declare that you trust His timing completely. Gratitude shifts your focus from what is missing to what is possible. It opens your spirit to receive more. The heart that is thankful never runs empty because it recognizes abundance, even in small beginnings. Gratitude is faith in motion. It tells God, I believe it's already done. And finally, when the blessing arrives, remember this truth. The purpose of every blessing is not to make you comfortable. It is to make you impactful. Comfort fades, but purpose remains. God blesses you so that your life becomes evidence of His power. He wants the world to look at you and see His faithfulness. He wants your story to give hope to others who are still waiting. That is the highest form of blessing, to become a living testimony of divine goodness. If you are feeling the stir, the shift, the pressure, the stretching, do not resist it. It means heaven is aligning in your favor. God is not just preparing the blessing for you. He is preparing you for the blessing. And when both preparation and promise meet, nothing and no one can stop what He has declared over your life. Hold firm, keep your faith alive, and stand ready. The signs are here, the season is near, and the blessing is already written in the language of destiny. Your name is on it. When God is preparing to bless you, there comes a divine stillness before the outpouring. It's that quiet moment when your spirit feels heavy but alive, when you can sense that something greater is on the horizon. You may not see it with your eyes, but your heart begins to tremble because deep inside you know God is near. And when God draws near, the atmosphere around you begins to shift. The same people who misunderstood you begin to see your worth. The same doors that were locked tight begin to creak open. The same nights that felt endless suddenly reveal the dawn. When God is ready to move, no power on earth can hold him back. And when he chooses to move in your life, no force in the universe can stop his blessing from finding you. But hear this truth clearly. Before the blessing comes the testing. Before the promise comes the pruning. God never releases a blessing until the vessel is ready to receive it. That is why he allows delays, disappointments, and even heartbreaks. Not to break you, but to build you into someone who can carry the weight of the blessing without losing sight of him. Many people pray for elevation, but few are willing to be purified for it. Many cry for favor, but few are ready for the solitude it demands. When God prepares to bless you, he removes everything that competes with his place in your heart. He separates you from distractions so you can walk in divine focus. And when that moment comes, your spirit will know. You will feel a deep urgency to let go of what no longer aligns with your destiny. You will stop fighting for people who refuse to understand your purpose. You will no longer chase what drains your peace, because your soul will crave stillness in God's presence. You will find yourself praying differently, thinking differently, walking differently, because something inside you knows that the old life no longer fits the person God is calling you to become. That is not confusion. That is transformation. That is God whispering, I am about to bless you beyond measure. And I want you to remember this truth tonight. When the blessing finally comes, it won't just change your circumstances, it will change you. Because God never gives a blessing that leaves a person the same. His blessings expand your heart, sharpen your wisdom, and ignite your faith. You will begin to see that the pain had purpose, that the loss had meaning, that the silence was sacred. You will look back and realize that every no, every delay, every closed door was simply God redirecting your path toward a blessing you couldn't yet imagine. So if you are listening to this and your life feels like a wilderness, don't despair. The wilderness is not a punishment, it's a preparation. God often hides his chosen ones in obscurity before revealing them in glory. He isolates you to purify your motives, to strengthen your endurance, and to teach you that your value comes not from man, but from him alone. The people who overlooked you were part of the plan. The ones who left you were part of the preparation. Every tear you cried became a seed that God himself will water with favor. You are not forgotten. You are being fashioned for greatness. And when that blessing arrives, it will not just bless you, it will overflow into others. Because when God blesses a person, it's never just for them. It's so they can become a vessel through which his goodness flows into the world. That is why he tests your heart first. He must know that you will use what he gives you to uplift others, not to glorify yourself. So when the breakthrough comes, when the doors open, when the abundance pours in, remember who sustained you in the waiting. Remember who lifted you when you had nothing left. Remember who whispered hope when everyone else turned away. It was always God. It will always be God. Now is the time to rise. Now is the time to align your life with the will of God. Release your doubts. Release your fears and surrender every part of yourself that resists his guidance. The world may tell you to rush, to fight, to push. But God says, be still and know that I am working. Do not measure your progress by what you can see. Measure it by what God is doing in your heart. Because when your heart is right, everything else will follow. So stand firm in your faith. Keep walking even when you can't see the road ahead. Keep praying even when the silence feels endless. Keep trusting even when everything inside you wants to quit. Because one day soon, you will wake up and realize that the struggle has shifted, the storm has passed, and the blessing has arrived. And you will know, without a doubt, that it was God who carried you all along. Lift your head, for your time is near. The blessing is not coming. It's already on its way. God is aligning the right people, the right opportunities, the right moments for your elevation. Stay faithful, stay humble, stay ready. Because when God decides to bless you, He doesn't ask for permission. He moves with power, and His hand leaves no doubt that you have been chosen for greatness. And so, with all the strength of your spirit, declare it. I am ready. God, prepare me for what you have prepared for me. Remove what blocks me, cleanse what distracts me, and lead me into the fullness of your blessing. Let that be your prayer. Let that be your commitment. And when you live with that kind of surrender, you won't have to chase blessings. They will chase you. Because wherever a heart is fully surrendered to God, favor follows. Go forward now with courage, with conviction, and with peace. The signs have been revealed. The preparation is complete. The blessing is at the door. And when God opens it, walk through it boldly. For this is your season to be lifted, favored, and used mightily by His hand. There comes a moment in your life when you realize that walking with God will cost you the crowd. You will understand that divine companionship often demands human separation. You will see that those who walk closely with God must learn the sacred art of walking alone. And if you desire to live under the constant covering of His presence, if you desire to hear His whisper in your spirit, you must learn the discipline of daily solitude with God. Not just sometimes, not just when life feels heavy, but every single day. When God calls you higher, He calls you away. Away from noise, away from distraction, away from the opinions of others. God will not share your attention with the world. When He wants to strengthen your spirit, He removes your support systems. When He wants to reveal Himself to you, He first hides every other voice. That is why many people never truly know God. Because they are too surrounded to ever be silent, too entertained to ever be still, too distracted to ever listen. To walk alone with God every day is to choose the narrow path of peace over the broad road of noise. It is to make a decision deep within your soul that you will not live for applause, but for approval. That you will not chase validation from man, but intimacy with God. The crowd may walk fast, but they walk without depth. The one who walks with God may walk slowly, but he walks with revelation. When you walk alone with God, you are not really alone. You are hidden in divine companionship. You begin to hear the voice that most people have forgotten how to hear. You begin to receive insights that can only come from heaven. You begin to understand that true strength is not in numbers, but in nearness. Nearness to God, the world says, don't be alone. But God says, come alone, that I may speak to you. For there are things God will only reveal to you when you are in the wilderness. There are secrets He will only whisper when you silence every other voice. Every morning that you wake up, heaven waits for your attention. God waits for you to speak to Him, not out of duty, but out of love. Every day, He invites you to walk with Him, to trust His unseen hand, to let Him lead you even when you don't know where you're going. Walking alone with God is not about isolation. It's about alignment. It's about aligning your soul so deeply with the rhythm of His will that even when life feels uncertain, your heart remains at peace because you know who walks beside you. Some people only come to God when they need something, but those who truly walk with God come to Him simply because they cannot live without Him. They wake up and say, God, I cannot breathe without you. I cannot think without you. I cannot make one decision unless you lead me. This is the essence of walking with God daily. Not religion, not routine, but relationship. The deep awareness that your strength, your wisdom, and your peace come from His presence alone. When you decide to walk alone with God every day, expect that people will not understand you. They will say you've changed, and they will be right. Because you can't walk with the Almighty and remain the same. You will lose interest in meaningless conversations. You will begin to prefer silence over gossip, solitude over crowds, purpose over pleasure. The more time you spend with God, the less you crave the noise of the world. You will discover that solitude with God is not loneliness, it's renewal. It's where the broken heart is repaired, the weary mind is strengthened, and the heavy soul is lifted. But walking with God daily is not easy. It takes discipline. It takes intention. You will not always feel like praying. You will not always feel like reading His Word or sitting in silence. Your mind will wander. Your body will resist. Your emotions will fight it. But that's when you must press through, because walking with God is not about feeling. It's about faithfulness. The presence of God is not found by the impulsive, it is found by the consistent. Those who make time for God when it's inconvenient are the ones who carry His power when it's needed. You cannot expect divine direction from a God you rarely speak to. You cannot expect peace from a presence you rarely enter. Walking with God daily means you schedule Him in the same way you schedule your life. Or better yet, you schedule your life around Him. It means you guard your spiritual time as if your survival depends on it, because it does. Every morning you spend with God is an investment in your peace for the day. Every quiet moment of prayer builds a foundation that keeps you unshaken when storms arise. Sometimes God will walk with you through still waters. Other times He will walk with you through fire. But no matter what path He leads you on, one truth remains: you are never alone. The path may be lonely, but His presence is not absent. The darkness may be deep, but His light is deeper. The valley may seem endless, but His hand is always near. When you walk alone with God, you begin to realize that even the wilderness is a classroom of revelation. Every hardship becomes holy. Every tear becomes a testimony. Every step becomes sacred because you are not walking aimlessly. You are walking with purpose. There will be days when you feel disconnected from God. Days when you pray and it seems like heaven is silent. Don't stop. Silence is not absence. It is often preparation. God is not ignoring you. He is observing you. He wants to see if you seek Him for the answer or for His presence itself. Those who walk with God daily learn to love Him even when He doesn't speak, to trust Him even when they don't understand, to wait on Him even when time feels heavy. To walk with God is to surrender control every single day. It's to say, God, lead me even when I don't know where you're taking me. It's to release your need to figure everything out and to rest in the assurance that His plan is better than your logic. God doesn't need your understanding. He needs your trust. And those who walk with Him learn that faith is not about knowing everything. It's about trusting the one who does. Every great destiny begins in solitude with God. Every prophet, every servant, every chosen soul was first separated before they were elevated. When God wants to raise you, He isolates you. Not to punish you, but to prepare you. You will feel misunderstood. You will feel unseen. But in those hidden moments, God is writing your story. He is building your strength. He is shaping your character. The world may not see it yet, but heaven is watching closely. When you walk alone with God, you stop depending on people for your peace. You no longer crave approval or recognition. You realize that the same God who watches over the stars also watches over you. You stop chasing love that is conditional because you have already found love that is eternal. You stop fearing tomorrow because you have already surrendered it to the one who holds it. That is what happens when your soul is anchored in God. You walk with a calm that cannot be stolen, a confidence that cannot be shaken, and a faith that cannot be broken. God will sometimes remove people from your life, not because they are evil, but because they cannot walk where you are going. He will close doors not because He wants to hurt you, but because He wants to protect you. He will silence your environment so He can sharpen your spirit. And if you are sensitive enough to His voice, you will see that every loss was direction, every delay was protection, and every rejection was redirection. The one who walks with God does not rush. You understand that God's timing is perfection. You no longer panic when things don't happen quickly because you know what comes from God will come at the appointed time. Waiting is not weakness, it is trust in motion. Every day you walk with God, your patience deepens, your peace expands, and your purpose becomes clearer. Walking alone with God every day is a discipline of the soul. It means turning off your phone so you can tune into heaven. It means waking up before the world wakes, so you can hear the still, small voice before the noise begins. It means speaking less so you can listen more. It means learning to find God not just in the temple, but in your room, in your car, in your kitchen, in your silence. Because those who truly walk with God do not wait for perfect conditions. They turn ordinary moments into sacred encounters. Sometimes God will wake you up in the middle of the night, not because something is wrong, but because He wants to speak. Don't roll over and go back to sleep. Those are divine invitations. When your spirit stirs for no reason, it's because heaven is calling you. The deeper your walk with God, the more sensitive you become to His presence. You will begin to feel His nudge in decisions, His peace in confirmation, His heaviness when something is wrong, and His joy when something is right. To walk with God daily is to live a life of awareness. You no longer see random events, you see divine orchestration. You no longer believe in coincidences, you believe in purpose. You no longer fight every battle. You choose peace because you know God fights for you. And in every circumstance, your first instinct becomes prayer, not panic. Because when you truly walk with God, peace becomes your posture, not your reaction. Walking with God will also expose parts of you that need healing. Solitude is where God confronts your heart. When you are alone with Him, He will reveal your pride, your fears, your hidden wounds. He does this not to condemn you, but to cleanse you. For you cannot walk closely with God and remain contaminated by bitterness, ego, or resentment. The closer you get to God, the more you crave purity. Purity of heart, purity of thought, purity of intention. Every day with God is an invitation to transformation. He wants to shape you into someone who reflects peace in chaos, a faith in uncertainty, and kindness in cruelty. And this cannot happen without solitude. Crowds feed ego. Silence feeds the soul. When you walk alone with God, you no longer measure your worth by results, but by relationship. Success is no longer about what you achieve. It's about how deeply you trust Him. God is not impressed by your achievements. He is moved by your attention. When you give Him your undivided heart, He gives you His unshakable strength. When you make Him your priority, He makes you His vessel. And when you walk with Him daily, your life becomes a living testimony of what divine partnership looks like. People will wonder why you are calm when everything falls apart. They will ask why you smile in the middle of storms. They will not understand that you have learned to walk with the one who holds the storm in His hand. The secret to peace in this world is not more control, it's more surrender. Every time you try to manage life by yourself, you lose strength. Every time you hand it back to God, you gain it. Those who walk alone with God understand this sacred exchange. Less self, more surrender. Less worry, more worship. Less planning, more trusting. There will be seasons when you feel like God is walking ahead of you and you can't catch up. There will be seasons when you feel like He is walking behind you and you wonder if He still follows. But remember, He never left. The walk of faith is not about knowing where God is, it's about knowing that He is. Every day you choose to walk with Him, He aligns the invisible in your favor. He goes before you to prepare, beside you to guide, behind you to protect, and within you to strengthen. So don't be afraid of walking alone. Solitude is where you hear God's secrets. Stillness is where you find His strength. Silence is where your soul grows. Don't rush to be understood. Rush to be aligned. Don't seek to be seen. Seek to be guided. Every great destiny demands divine solitude. Every powerful calling begins in quiet communion. If you truly desire to walk with God, every day, then decide today that you will no longer chase noise. Turn your life into a sanctuary. Let your heart become a temple of peace. Build a habit of meeting with God, not just on special occasions, but in ordinary hours. Speak to Him as you walk, as you work, as you rest. Make Him your first thought in the morning and your last whisper at night. For when your life revolves around God, everything else finds its rightful place. Those who walk with God never walk empty. They carry divine assurance wherever they go. They walk through chaos with calmness, through rejection with resilience, through uncertainty with faith. They become unshakable not because life is easy, but because they know who sustains them. And every day they rise again, not in their own power, but in the quiet strength that comes from communion with the Almighty. When you decide to walk alone with God every day, something profound begins to change within you. You no longer live from your emotions. You live from revelation. You begin to move with a quiet confidence, not because everything around you makes sense, but because your spirit has learned to trust the one who sees beyond your sight. To walk with God daily is to surrender your need for clarity and replace it with the peace of divine trust. You stop asking, why? And start saying, your will be done. That is the shift that separates the restless from the rooted. Those who live in fear from those who walk in faith. Every day spent with God reshapes your character. His presence refines what the world corrupted. He burns away your pride, your fear, your insecurities. He strengthens your spiritual muscles in the gym of solitude. God will not always comfort you. Sometimes He will confront you. He will show you the truth about yourself, not to shame you, but to set you free. Because walking with God means walking in truth. And truth is not always soft. Sometimes it cuts, but it always heals. Those who dare to walk alone with God must be willing to be undone before they can be rebuilt. When you walk daily with God, your discernment sharpens. You begin to see what others overlook. You sense what cannot be explained. You no longer make decisions by sight, but by insight. You learn to recognize the quiet signals of heaven, the unrest in your spirit when something is wrong, the sudden peace that confirms the right path, the divine delays that protect you from unseen harm. God trains those who walk with Him to trust their spiritual instincts. He will close one door and open another, not to confuse you, but to teach you that His direction is more reliable than your logic. The walk with God is not a destination, it is a lifestyle. It is not an occasional visit, it is a permanent posture. It means you are constantly aware that He is near. Whether you are in the marketplace, in traffic, or in silence, your heart whispers, God, I know you are here. And that awareness becomes your greatest source of strength. The world may offer you comfort, but only God can give you peace. The world may promise success, but only God gives meaning. When you walk alone with Him every day, your life gains rhythm. A rhythm of trust, a rhythm of surrender, a rhythm of divine timing. There will be moments when God feels distant, when His silence feels unbearable. But those are the sacred seasons when He is teaching you to walk by faith, not by feeling. Do not mistake silence for abandonment. When a teacher is silent, it means the test has begun. When God is quiet, it means He is watching to see what you will do with what He already told you. Those who walk with God daily understand that silence is not absence. It's preparation. It's where your faith grows roots, where your confidence matures, where your obedience deepens. To walk with God is to walk in humility. You cannot walk with the Almighty and remain proud. God resists the proud but draws near to the humble. Pride walks ahead of God, but humility walks beside Him. When you humble yourself daily before God, you make room for His wisdom to flow through you. The humble heart hears what arrogance drowns out. The humble spirit moves when others hesitate. The humble soul receives what others reject. And in humility, God reveals secrets that no intellect could uncover. Sometimes God will test your walk by asking you to do things that make no sense. He will lead you into unfamiliar paths where faith is your only light. He will ask you to let go of what you love, to move forward when you cannot see, to trust Him when nothing feels secure. And if you obey, you will discover that every step of obedience builds your spiritual authority. Those who walk daily with God don't need to see the full map. They just need to take the next step. Because when you take one step in faith, God moves mountains ahead of you that you never even saw coming. Walking with God means learning to depend on Him more than you depend on your own strength. It is choosing trust over worry, surrender over control, peace over panic. Every time life shakes you, it's a reminder to lean back into God. When you walk alone with Him, your dependence becomes your defense. You stop fearing what's coming because you know who walks before you. You stop dreading tomorrow because your soul has already found rest in His sovereignty. There is a secret strength that only comes to those who walk alone with God. It is not loud. It is not dramatic. It is quiet, steady, unshakable. You begin to glow from the inside out. Your words carry weight, not because of eloquence, but because of the power that backs them. Your presence brings peace to others, not because of who you are, but because of who walks with you. When you spend time in the presence of God daily, you carry that presence wherever you go. People may not know what it is, but they will feel it. The calm in your spirit, the confidence in your eyes, the clarity in your words. That is the mark of someone who has been walking with the Almighty. The deeper you walk with God, the less you need to explain yourself. You stop defending your choices. You stop begging for understanding. You realize that people cannot comprehend what they were not called to experience. Your journey is sacred. Your relationship with God is personal. Others may not see the path, but you do not need them to. Because you are no longer walking for validation, you are walking for destiny, and destiny is often lonely before it becomes visible. God will sometimes isolate you before He elevates you. He will separate you so He can shape you. He will strip away distractions, detach you from certain people, and quiet your environment, not to harm you, but to prepare you. When you are walking with God daily, you will often feel like He's taking things away. But what He's really doing is making room for what is greater. The path of isolation is the pathway to impartation. The ones who walk with God in secret are the ones He uses in power publicly. to walk alone with God every day, you must also learn the language of stillness. Stillness is not laziness, it is spiritual intelligence. It is knowing that your silence allows God to move. Many people lose their peace because they try to control what only God can handle. Stillness says, I have prayed, I have trusted, now I rest. Stillness is the loudest expression of faith. It's saying, I do not need to strive because I know who fights for me. And in that stillness, you begin to hear divine whispers that cannot be heard through anxiety. Every time you sit quietly with God, He realigns your spirit. The world leaves residue, noise, fear, confusion. But the presence of God washes it away. You walk in heavy, you walk out light. You go in worried, you come out wise. You enter empty, you leave filled. That is what happens when you consistently dwell in divine solitude. The more time you spend with God, the less the world can touch you. You begin to live from the inside out, not the outside in. When you walk with God daily, your perception of time changes. You stop rushing. You stop comparing. You stop panicking. You understand that divine timing cannot be forced or delayed. You learn that waiting is not wasting, it's working. Every day that you wait with God, He is aligning people, places, and purposes for your next step. When it's time, nothing can stop it. When it's not time, nothing can start it. That is the peace of walking with the one who holds time in His hands. To walk with God also means to live with gratitude. Every morning becomes a gift. Every breath a blessing. Every obstacle an opportunity to see His power. Gratitude keeps your heart tender. It reminds you that even when you have little, you still have God. And having God is having everything. When you live with gratitude, you walk through life with a smile that confusion cannot erase, with hope that hardship cannot steal. Gratitude is the fragrance of those who walk closely with God. The one who walks with God daily also learns the discipline of listening. Most people pray to speak, few pray to hear. But when you walk with God long enough, you realize that His voice is the most precious sound in existence. He speaks through peace, through intuition, through circumstances, through the quiet stirring in your spirit. And every time you obey that inner whisper, your life expands in wisdom. The more you listen, the more He reveals. The more you respond, the more He trusts you with revelation. Walking alone with God will also require courage. The courage to stand firm when everyone else compromises. The courage to obey even when it's unpopular. The courage to trust even when the outcome is uncertain. God does not walk with the fearful. He walks with the faithful. Every act of obedience, no matter how small, becomes a step deeper into His purpose. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to move forward despite it, believing that God walks with you through every step. As you continue to walk with God daily, your priorities shift. You stop chasing things that don't feed your spirit. You no longer measure success by possessions, but by peace. You no longer define progress by recognition, but by obedience. You stop living for comfort and start living for calling, because when you walk with God, you begin to understand that the purpose of life is not pleasure. It's alignment. To be aligned with His wills is to live in true abundance. There will come a time when you look back and realize that every lonely path, every silent night, every painful step was not wasted. God was walking beside you in all of it. He was molding your patience, deepening your discernment, and fortifying your faith. You will realize that the very moments you felt abandoned were the ones that shaped your destiny. Those who walk with God every day eventually understand what looked like isolation was actually elevation. What felt like delay was divine construction. And as you grow in your walk with God, you begin to radiate something that words cannot describe. It's the calm assurance of someone who knows that even when life breaks, God restores. Even when the path darkens, His light never fails. Even when your strength runs out, His hand still holds you. To walk with God every day is to live in a peace that the world cannot manufacture and cannot steal. So keep walking, keep trusting, keep surrendering. Even when it's quiet, even when it's hard, even when you don't understand, walk on. Because the one who walks with you never sleeps, never leaves, and never fails. The world may walk away, but God walks closer. The crowd may scatter, but His presence surrounds. And when you learn to walk alone with God every day, you will never fear loneliness again, for your solitude will have become your sanctuary, and your isolation will have become your anointing. And now, as you come to the end of this message, hear this truth deep within your spirit. Walking alone with God is not a one-time act of faith. It is a lifelong covenant. It is not a temporary escape from the world. It is a daily declaration that your heart belongs to God and God alone. Every step you take in faith, every moment you choose stillness over noise, every time you lift your eyes to heaven instead of the world, you are strengthening that covenant. There will be days when the path feels too heavy, when the silence feels unbearable, when doubt whispers that you have been forgotten. But remember this: God has never walked away from the one who walks toward Him. Every time you take a step in His direction, He takes 1,000 steps toward you. The road may be narrow, but it leads to divine peace. The way may be lonely, but it ends in eternal strength. The journey may test you, but it will also transform you. If you truly want to walk with God every day, then begin now. Not tomorrow, not when life is perfect, not when things finally make sense. Begin in your imperfection. Begin in your weakness. Begin in your confusion. Speak to God as you are, not as you wish to be. Sit in silence and let your heart listen. Surrender your worries, your control, your endless striving, and simply say, God, I want to walk with you. That is where divine companionship begins. In the humility of a surrendered heart. From that moment onward, let your life become a continuous conversation with the divine. Let your footsteps echo faith, your silence speak trust, and your tears testify to hope. When you wake, whisper His name. When you work, invite His presence. When you rest, thank Him for His nearness. Make your entire life a sanctuary where God feels welcome to dwell. And as you do, watch what happens. Peace will begin to follow you like a shadow. Doors will open that your effort could never unlock. Wisdom will come when logic fails. You will begin to move through life with quiet power. Not because you have all the answers, but because you walk with the one who does. you will learn that walking alone with God is never truly walking alone. It is walking with the very source of existence itself. It is walking with the Creator who shaped your destiny before the foundation of the world. It is walking with the one who knows every thought, counts every tear, and ordains every step. So let the world run. Let the crowd chase noise. You walk with God. Walk in silence when words fail. Walk in faith when sight disappears. Walk in peace when chaos surrounds you. Walk in gratitude when life feels hard. And as you walk, you will discover that the greatest miracle is not what happens around you, but what happens within you. The transformation of a soul that has learned to walk every single day with God. That is the secret of power. That is the pathway to peace. That is the life you were created to live. A life hand in hand, heart to heart, with the one who never leaves, never sleeps, and never stops walking beside you. Have you ever reached that point in your life where your heart is tired of waiting? Where you've done everything you know how to do, prayed, worked, believed, hoped, and still nothing seems to move. It feels like the heavens are silent, like the promises have been delayed, like time itself has turned against you. And in the middle of that silence, when your strength starts to fade, God whispers one command that changes everything. Just relax. Everything will come to you. You see, when God speaks those words, He is not asking you to be lazy. He is commanding you to trust. Because the greatest act of faith is not in doing more. It is in resting while you wait for God to move. Many people misunderstand this. They think that peace is the result of everything going right. But the truth is deeper. Peace is what God gives before everything goes right. When you learn to relax in God, you learn to live in the rhythm of divine timing. You stop chasing, you stop forcing, and you start allowing. Because what belongs to you cannot miss you. And what misses you was never meant to be yours. God knows when to bring things together. He knows when to open the right door, when to place the right person, when to unfold the right opportunity. The moment you stop trying to control everything and simply surrender to His timing, that's when miracles begin to flow effortlessly. Many people live anxious lives, not because God is late, but because they are early. They run ahead of Him. They try to make things happen by their own understanding, and when it doesn't work, they doubt His plan. But God is never late. He is precise. He moves like the sun rising at dawn. Not 1 second too soon, not 1 second too late. When God says, relax, He is not telling you to give up. He is telling you to come back to your spiritual center. He is reminding you that you are not in control. He is. You are not the source. You are the vessel. You are not the provider. You are the receiver. When you remember this truth, fear loses its grip. Anxiety begins to fade. The storm may still rage around you, but your heart stands still because you know who holds the waves. God is in control of the wind and the water. He knows how to bring peace to chaos, how to bring clarity to confusion, how to bring beauty from pain. So many times, we panic because we think silence means absence. But silence is often the sign that God is working behind the scenes. When you can't see movement, it doesn't mean nothing is happening. It means the foundation is being laid where your eyes cannot see. Like a seed buried under the soil, it looks dead from the surface, but life is growing beneath. God hides your blessings in the soil of patience. And those who can relax and trust Him in the unseen moments are the ones who eventually walk into the fullness of their destiny. Relaxation in God is not passive. It is powerful. It is the stance of a soul that knows its source. It is the posture of someone who has stopped wrestling with the process and has started flowing with divine timing. When you relax in God, you are saying, I trust your hand even when I cannot trace it. You are saying, even if I don't understand the path, I believe in your purpose. That kind of faith moves heaven. That kind of faith invites favor. Because God is drawn to peace. His power flows where there is stillness. The anxious heart blocks the flow of miracles, but the calm heart becomes a channel for divine manifestation. You may be in a waiting season right now. You may be wondering when the breakthrough will come, when the healing will arrive, when the answer will finally be revealed. But God says, just relax. You don't have to chase what I have already prepared. You don't have to beg for what is already written with your name on it. What belongs to you is already finished in the spiritual realm. It is only waiting for divine timing to bring it into the physical. The more you rest in trust, the faster it comes, because faith and rest are connected. Anxiety delays, peace accelerates. The world will tell you to keep grinding, keep hustling, keep pushing until something breaks. But God's way is different. His blessings are not earned through exhaustion. They are received through alignment. When your heart is aligned with His will, you stop striving and start flowing. You realize that nothing you force will ever last, but everything you receive through surrender will stand forever. You see, when you try to make things happen your way, you might get results, but they will drain you. But when you let God do it His way, it comes with peace and it stays. Think of the river that flows gently. It doesn't struggle to move forward. It simply follows the course that has been carved for it. And yet, it reaches the ocean every time. The same is true for the soul that trusts God's direction. You will reach your destination not by struggling, but by flowing. Every time you panic, you step out of that flow. Every time you relax, you return to it. This is what it means to live by divine rhythm, to trust that every delay, every detour, every closed door is part of the current that is carrying you exactly where you need to be. God never told you to figure everything out. He told you to trust Him. He never said to understand every reason. He said to rest in His wisdom. The moment you stop trying to understand and start to trust, your life begins to unfold with divine ease. The doors that once refused to open suddenly swing wide. The people who once overlooked you suddenly remember your name. The opportunities that seemed impossible begin to appear out of nowhere. That's what happens when you live in surrender. You attract what was chasing you all along. There are times when God will intentionally slow you down, not to punish you, but to protect you. Sometimes you think a delay is a curse, but it is actually divine mercy. If He gave you what you wanted too soon, it would destroy you. You are still being shaped, still being prepared for the weight of what's coming. That's why He tells you to relax, because your rest is proof of your trust. When you can relax in the middle of uncertainty, heaven takes notice. When you stop worrying about what you cannot control, that's when God begins to move what you cannot move. When you relax in God, you no longer need to compete, compare, or prove yourself. You no longer need to chase validation from others. You know that what is meant for you cannot be taken by anyone else. You begin to walk with quiet confidence, a peace that doesn't depend on circumstances. People will look at you and wonder, how can you be so calm when everything around you is unstable? And you'll know it's because your anchor is not in this world. Your peace is not dependent on outcomes. Your confidence is rooted in the unchanging nature of God. Everything you're waiting for is already on its way. But God is testing your ability to stay calm while it's on the road to you. Can you still worship while you wait? Can you still speak faith when nothing looks like it's happening? Can you still rest while everything in you wants to run ahead? That's what separates those who live in peace from those who live in panic. Those who relax in God understand that nothing truly theirs will ever miss them. Those who do not trust end up exhausting themselves, chasing what they could have simply received through peace. When God says, just relax, everything will come to you, He is inviting you into a realm where striving ends and surrender begins. This is not weakness. This is strength of the highest form. It takes courage to trust when you cannot see. It takes faith to rest when everything inside you is screaming to take control. But understand this, what you are fighting for with your own strength, God can deliver to your doorstep without a single struggle. The things that wear you down are the very things God can handle in a single command. You may be exhausted from trying to make everything happen, but God is saying, stop wrestling with what is already written in your favor. Do you realize that nothing in this world can stop what God has destined for you? Not people, not delays, not circumstances. The forces that come against you are powerless when God has spoken over your life. When He says it will happen, it will happen. The only thing that can delay your peace is your own anxiety. That's why God says, relax. Because your worry does not move Him. Your panic does not accelerate His plan, and your frustration does not alter His timing. The only thing that truly moves God is your trust. Faith is the language that heaven understands. Many people live their entire lives trying to prove their worth, trying to earn blessings, trying to make something happen by their own might. But God does not bless effort alone. He blesses surrender. When you relax in His presence, you show Him that you believe He is who He says He is, the provider, the sustainer, the one who never fails. To relax in God means to sit in the assurance that what is meant for you is already being arranged. Every connection, every opportunity, every breakthrough, it's already written in your story. God is simply waiting for you to calm your heart enough to receive it. Have you noticed that the more you chase something, the further it seems to run away? That's because desperation repels blessings but peace attracts them. When your spirit is calm, it becomes magnetic to divine favor. The energy of faith draws what you need into your life, but the vibration of fear pushes it away. God wants to bring things to you with ease, but He cannot place new blessings into hands that are clenched in worry. The moment you open your hands, the moment you release control, that is when He begins to fill them. There are some seasons when God will deliberately close doors, not because He wants to punish you, but because He wants to protect you from lesser things. You may cry over what didn't work out. You may mourn over who left. But one day you will look back and realize, if that door had opened, it would have destroyed you. God saw what you couldn't. He knew that your heart was too valuable to be wasted in the wrong place. That's why He says, relax. You didn't lose anything that was meant for you. If it walked away, it wasn't yours. If it failed, it wasn't part of your divine story. When you learn to relax in the wisdom of God, you stop asking, why did this happen? And start saying, God, what are you teaching me through this? Because behind every delay is a lesson. Behind every disappointment is direction. Behind every closed door is divine redirection. You may not see it now, but one day you'll understand that every no was preparing you for a greater yes. And when that moment comes, you will thank God not only for what He gave, but also for what He withheld. Because His protection is sometimes disguised as rejection. There is a deep peace that comes when you realize that your timing is not better than God's timing. He sees the full picture. You see only a single frame. You may think you're ready, but God knows what is still being built inside of you. Sometimes He slows you down so you can grow into the version of yourself that can carry what He's about to release. If He gave it too soon, it would crush you. So He waits until your spirit is matured, your faith is anchored, and your heart is strong enough to handle the blessing. Then, what once felt delayed will arrive right on time. Relaxation in God is not laziness. It is alignment. It is the discipline of trusting more and worrying less. It is the spiritual wisdom to understand that everything that belongs to you will come without you having to beg for it. You don't have to chase your purpose. You only need to walk in obedience, and purpose will chase you. You don't have to fight for recognition. When the time is right, God will place your name in the right hearts and rooms. You don't have to rush love when you are at peace. The right soul will find you without confusion or struggle. God's timing is flawless. Every blessing that is meant for you is being prepared in this very moment. Even when you feel forgotten, even when it looks like nothing is happening, God is orchestrating connections that you don't even know exist yet. He is speaking your name in places your feet have never walked. He is preparing hearts, opening paths, aligning details. You cannot see it now, but He is already ahead of you, setting the stage for your arrival. That is why He says, relax. Because if you knew how carefully everything is being arranged, you would stop worrying completely. You may think that waiting means nothing is happening, but waiting is the soil of transformation. Waiting is where faith grows, patience is refined, and trust is perfected. Waiting is where you learn to rely on God more deeply than ever before. When everything around you seems motionless, your faith begins to take root underground. And when the time is right, it will sprout with abundance, so great that you will understand why you had to wait so long. God does not make you wait to frustrate you. He makes you wait to prepare you. There is a rhythm in the way God moves. If you watch the waves of the sea, they rise and fall in perfect timing. They never rush, they never delay. The tide always comes in at its appointed hour. So it is with the blessings of God. They move according to divine rhythm, not human impatience. When you are anxious, you fight against that rhythm. When you are peaceful, you move with it. And the one who moves with the rhythm of God lives in a constant flow of favor, because peace is the highest form of trust. It tells God, I believe you, even when I don't see proof. There will be times when life will test your peace. You will face storms that shake your faith, voices that tell you to panic, moments that tempt you to give up. But in those moments, remember the stillness of God's presence. He is not in the chaos. He is in the calm. When you choose peace, you choose power. The world may look at you and call you passive, but in reality, you are standing in unshakable faith. While others fight battles that are not theirs to fight, you stand still and watch God work on your behalf. And when He moves in ways that leave no doubt that it was Him all along. Sometimes, God allows the pressure to build just to reveal how much faith you truly have. It's easy to trust when everything is smooth. It's harder when everything feels uncertain. But that's where your faith proves itself real. That's where you show heaven that your peace is not dependent on circumstances. It's anchored in the unchanging nature of God. When you reach that level of trust, no storm can break you, no delay can discourage you, and no rejection can make you question your worth. Because you know, God is faithful. So if life feels heavy right now, if you are tired of waiting, if you are wondering when your season will come, hear this deeply, it will come. But you must not lose your peace before it does. The enemy wants you restless, anxious, doubtful, because a restless heart cannot hear God clearly. But a relaxed heart becomes a receiver of divine instruction. When your spirit is still, you start to sense what others cannot sense. You hear God's whispers, you recognize divine timing, and you move in wisdom instead of emotion. Peace is your power. Rest is your weapon. Calm is your confidence. Because when you are calm, you can hear the steps of destiny approaching. God will not deliver His blessings into the hands of those who are panicking. He gives them to those who have learned to wait in stillness, who have mastered the art of trusting, even in the unknown. Everything that is meant for you is already written with your name on it. It is already traveling through time and circumstance to find you. Nothing can stop it. No mistake, no opposition, no delay. The only question is, will you stay at peace long enough to receive it? God does not want you to suffer through your waiting season. He wants you to grow through it. Every day that you choose peace over panic, you are proving your faith. Every moment that you choose to rest instead of worry, you are attracting the promises closer. When you truly relax in God, something changes within you. You stop asking and start saying, whenever you will. You stop fearing the unknown and start embracing it as sacred territory. You stop doubting your path and start walking it with quiet assurance. You begin to understand that your life is not random. It is divinely authored. Every page, every paragraph, every pause, it all serves a purpose in the masterpiece God is writing through you. And one day, when everything falls into place, when the waiting is over and the blessings begin to flow, you will look back and realize why God kept telling you to relax. You will see that the delays were never denials. They were divine preparation. You will see that the moments you thought were wasted were actually sacred seasons of growth. You will see that the pain that once broke you was shaping you into the vessel capable of carrying the weight of your destiny. So rest in that truth. Be still in your spirit. God has not forgotten you. He has not overlooked you. He is simply preparing the stage so that when your time comes, nothing and no one can stand in the way. When He moves, He will move quickly. But until then, He calls you to relax, to breathe, to trust, and to know that everything will come to you exactly when it's meant to. When God says, just relax, everything will come to you, it is not merely a comforting phrase. It is a divine command. It is a sacred invitation to step into the flow of divine alignment, where fear no longer governs your choices and time, no longer intimidates your spirit. God is reminding you that nothing in your life is random. Every delay, every turn, every silence is woven with purpose. The very moment you stop forcing and start trusting, the very instant you choose peace over panic, heaven begins to shift in your favor. Your role is not to make things happen. It is to stay faithful while God makes them happen. You are not meant to control the storm. You are meant to rest in the one who controls it. You are not called to understand every step. You are called to walk each one with faith. When you stop running in fear and start walking in trust, everything that has been chasing you begins to turn around and find its way to you. Blessings, peace, opportunities, divine connections all begin to move in your direction when your heart is still. Relaxation in God is not weakness. It is the highest form of strength. It is the declaration of a soul that knows, my times are in God's hands. It is the confidence of one who understands that what is written for them cannot be erased. You do not need to rush. You only need to align. You do not need to push. You only need to flow. The one who learns to rest in divine timing becomes unstoppable because their energy is not wasted in fear, but invested in faith. So breathe deeply. Let go of the weight you have been carrying. Stop trying to control what only God can manage. Let your soul sink into the peace of knowing that everything meant for you is already on its way. The right doors will open. The right people will appear. The right moments will unfold. And when it happens, it will not feel forceless. It will feel like it was always meant to be. This is the power of divine rest. This is the beauty of spiritual surrender. To relax in God is to live with the awareness that you are guided, protected, and provided for. Nothing can steal what He has planned for you. Nothing can stop what He has prepared for you. Everything, yes, Everything will come in its appointed time. So walk with peace in your heart and faith in your steps. Trust the unseen hand that moves all things into place. And remember, when God said, just relax, everything will come to you, He meant it. The moment you believe that truth, the moment you truly rest in it, the flow of divine timing will carry you into everything you've been waiting for, without struggle, without striving, without fear. Because when you trust God fully, everything truly comes to you.